Hey, it's all right. Give everybody a second. Excellent. Call this meeting, the Nevada Board of Wildlife Commissioners, back to order. We're going to start out with the Pledge of Allegiance, led by another one of our combat veterans. Mr. Farrell, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate you coming out. Looks like we have a good turnout day. Lots of CAB members out here, I see too. All right. Let's see, we'll go with just for what we're going to end up doing here, we'll do member items, public comment, and then we'll go back to where we were at yesterday, which was 15 correspondence. And then we'll continue on through 19. So first, member items, announcements, commissioners. Oh, yeah. That's what we're going to do next here. First, we're going to do the roll call of county advisory boards and the commissioners. Suzanne, if you could run through the commissioners, please. Present. Present. Excellent. Now, county advisory board members, if you could stand up and announce which county you're from. Start up here in front. Who we got? Excellent. Thank Glenn. Excellent. Don't see Gil today, man. Don't see Gil. I was expecting him. He'll be here. All right. Thanks for coming out this morning. Got a lot of items on the agenda. We've been reading a lot of minutes, so we just got a handout of all the recommendations. I think I probably read most of these earlier. We'll go over them with the item. Now we're going to go on to item number 17, which is member announcements. Commissioners may present emergent items. No action may be taken by the commission. Any item requiring commission action will be scheduled on a future commission agenda. Commissioners, what do we have? Commissioner Lent.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd just like to see if we could remind Mr. Cox and Mr. Wasley that we'd like to get a copy. I couldn't see any of that here of their, on a CD maybe, of their reports that they gave to the commission, sent to the commission. A CD would probably be the easiest way, and I just wanted to see if we'd remind them to do that. Thank you.
Excellent. Mr. Macbeth.
At the December meeting, we made a decision to table the petition of TrailSafe, and what we did is we promised them that we would get them on the agenda for our Administrative Procedures, Regulations, and Policy Committee to look at a solution for the issue of trapping in the congested areas up north. And anyway, we did receive a letter from Trish Swain, and that didn't happen at the last meeting of that committee. And so I would like to see this get on the agenda of that committee as soon as possible, so we don't end up in a lawsuit or with legislation that resolves this problem to our detriment.
Thank you. Mr. Vogler.
Same as yesterday. I think we need to talk to our DAG or somebody about a cutoff. We may even be violating the open meeting laws on receiving emails and information as we're traveling to our meetings. And maybe there should be a 24-hour or 36-hour time limit before the meeting of further and more information. Thank you. Okay,
or at least maybe, yeah, some type of notice on there that things on the agenda, that items received after this date might not be in time. All right. Need to make a couple notes on that one. Remind me. All right. Any other member items announcements? All right. let's move on to public comment. Persons wishing to speak on items not on the agenda should complete a speaker's card, present the recording secretary. Public comment will be limited to 3 minutes. Persons are invited to submit comments in writing on the agenda items and/or attend and make comment on the item at the commission meeting. No action can be taken by the commission at this time. Any item requiring commission action could be scheduled on a future commission agenda. Public comment will also be limited to 3 minutes per speaker on each individual agenda item. So anything that's an action item, you will have an opportunity later as well. Let's see, we have a few cards here. They all say all. Do we have any public comment?
Good morning. For the record, Paul Dixon, Chairman of Clark County CAB. Yesterday, I addressed 2 issues that came up, and what I'd like to do is submit for the record today evidence in those issues. One is that Vice Chairman Lent mentioned that Paul Dixon, Chairman of the Clark County CAB, had filed a lawsuit. What I'd like to do is submit to the record the First Judicial Court records that say that Paul Dixon, an individual plaintiff, filed the lawsuit, number one. And number two, there was a question by Commissioner Schrum of whether or not I had corresponded with him, and I'd like to submit to the record the correspondence and copying of my CAB as well as Commissioner Macbeth of those requests that went to Commissioner Schrum about the commission agenda item number 11 on the BLM stuff. So I'd like to put those 2 things in the record. And the third thing is this morning I sent an email to Deputy Director Haskins asking for an accounting of costs by the Attorney General's office, this commission, as well as NDOW staff to support or defend the Heritage lawsuit, because there was a statement made yesterday by you, Vice Chairman Lent, that hundreds of thousands of dollars of sportsmen's money was spent, and I would like to actually know what that cost accounting is so we can put it properly on the record. Thank you.
All right, further public comment. All right, Glenn, good morning. And who are we going to have after Glenn's done? Anybody? We'll just line up. All right, looks like he's it.
Yes, Glenn Bunch, Mineral County. Yesterday, there was an item on the agenda that was talked about, and I just wanted to put something out to everyone, and it's about the road areas, the problems with the closures. Everyone needs to get involved with the planning in their county. The Planning Commission needs to get it into their master plan, the use of the land in your county. If you've got an area out there that you want to be deemed as open space, that's a bad title. Open space in the NRS says that's exactly what it'll be used for. You can't walk on it, you can't mine it, you can't build a road on it, you can't do anything but look at it. It's a backdoor wilderness. So you don't want open space. So you need to get involved. Everyone needs to get involved in the planning in their communities and get it into the master plan. The land use, and we got to try to run parallel course with the land agencies to try to stop them from shutting us down. But everyone needs to get involved. Okay? Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you. Any other public comment? Seeing none, bring back commission. Commission, have any public comment? Mr. Capurro?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I would like to ask that we place on the agenda of a future meeting a discussion on the issue of the federal requirement to keep wolves on the endangered species list. As you received information today, an attempt was made to pass a bill that I think had all had some interest in the federal Congress to delist the wolf, and that was defeated by Democratic objections. So I think it needs to be discussed because we are on the cusp of having that kind of problem in the state of Nevada as well as they have in Idaho, Montana, Oregon, and frankly all over. So I'd like to have that issue on the agenda at a future meeting. preferably next month.
Okay. Anybody else? On the issue that Mr. Bunch brought up, one thing on that is, if any counties have anything they'd like the commission to help out, a letter to some effect, send it in. Maybe the commission can help out. I know we did that with Elko County. Perhaps we can do it for others if anybody has something. Thank you. And that will move on to where we were, which was item 15, correspondence. Commission review, discuss correspondence sent or received by the commission since the last regular meeting, may provide copies for the exhibit file. Commissioners may provide hard copies of correspondence for the record. Correspondence sent or received by acting secretary mayor will also be discussed. I had several items. I know Sanoy has them for the file. One was, let's see. We had the Marlene Kirch item, we had Judy Karen sent in a letter. Mostly it was bear items. I also did receive several items, letters that were talking about some of the different seasons we'll be talking about today. Correspondence including the, not only big game, but the waterfowl. And I'll bring up those at the waterfowl time. Anybody else have anything, individual stuff they'd like to? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had, I think you've already reiterated, I had one from Judy Karen. I had one from, I think most of the other ones are horse letters, and I'll enter those into the record. They were bear and horse letters, and I think we covered those yesterday. That's all I had.
All right. Anybody else got anything extra? Mr. Macbeth? Oh, yes. Yeah, Mr. Macbeth?
Just as a general, just so I have a general understanding, when the department receives emails through the normal channels, even if they're addressed directly to me and I get forwarded those emails via Suzanne I guess it's basically through that system. I guess I'm relying on those getting into the correspondence file, and so I don't need to bring them up. And so the ones that I need to be concerned about are the ones that basically come from a constituent or from some advocate of some group that somehow directly gets me a correspondence. I just want to clarify that and make sure I understand what my obligation is to bring forth correspondence.
Yeah, normally, if they come to the commission, if I'm there, they come to me, I give them to Suzanne. Suzanne adds them to the official record. Those are really important to get out to you guys right away. So if Suzanne wants to talk further about the process.
Well, I forward them to the commission if they're addressed to the commission through the NBWC info site. And the ones that Ken has, and they are entered into the record.
We good?
There's one other letter you got from Jim Heffelfinger, chair of the Mule Deer Working Group, that wants to be read into the record. I suppose that'll be under item 27.
Excellent. All right, did we have anything else that you had, you'd like to bring up? No? Okay. Very good. In that case, we'll move on to item number 19, County Advisory Board to Manage Wildlife Budget Adjustments, fiscal year 2011. Deputy Director Patrick Cates. Do we have anything?
For the record, Patrick Cates, you have a report in your packet, pretty similar to the last report you saw. The report at the last meeting I brought at that meeting, and CABS didn't have a chance to really review it before that meeting, so we placed it back on the agenda to give CABS any opportunity to come forward if they needed additional funding. I reviewed most of the minutes of the CABs. I may not have gotten to all of them, but I didn't note anybody who was going to come forward and ask for adjustment, but I leave that to the CABs.
All right, I'd like to open up public comment at this time. Does the CABS have anything on this? Mr. Dixon.
For the record, Paul Dixon, Chairman, Clark County CAB. I think that this last CAB meeting that I had really epitomizes the issue that I have in Southern Nevada, which is we had on the agenda 2 items that were fairly controversial, and you dealt with those yesterday. One was horses, the other was bears. I had, at a minimum, 27 people of the public signed in at my meeting, and we were basically overcrowded at the NDOW offices. Because this commission has yet to support a recorder that's required by Clark County for me to have, Clark County restricts my meetings to exactly 3 hours, and they allow me to have no special meetings to discuss things. Because of that, when I get an agenda like you put out, Chairman Raines, that has 20 action items on it, I am unable, and if you look at my minutes, to address many of those items because you have to allow public comment time from the people in your meeting. And from my perspective, it would go a long ways to allowing me to either have a special meeting when we have controversial topics or to extend my meeting an hour if necessary to address and allow the public who come to my meeting and want their voices heard. And so I request respectfully that we support the recorder that I'm required to have since the Cecil Freddy OML filed against me. And that was the deal cut with the AG, is that we would start officially recording all of my meetings so that even though there was nothing in prior thing, they wanted to assure that I had a recorded version of my meeting besides the written minutes. And then secondarily, can you tell me, Chairman Raines, are we having a commission meeting with Utah this year? And if so, I don't believe any of the cabs have budgeted for that. And I wasn't sure, Patrick, whether or not we had